welcome to the Media Club podcast. Last month, we discussed our thoughts on foreign languages. Today, we'll be discussing our hobbies and interests. Before we begin with today's topic, we are going to introduce our speakers by mentioning our name, grade, school, and answering the question, what is your favorite hobby or interest? My name is Joseph. I am a junior at Cypress High School, and I would say my favorite hobby or interest would be fashion design.
My name is Kaylin Kim, and I'm a junior at Sunny Hills High School. And my favorite hobby would probably be tennis.
Hello, my name is Josephine Lee. I'm a sixth grader at Chadwick International, and one of my favorite hobbies would be reading books.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I'm a junior in Valley Christian High School. My favorite hobby is playing tennis.
Hi, my name is Scarlett, and I'm a sophomore at Sunny Hills High School, and my favorite hobby is dancing.
Hi, my name is Jay. I'm at St. Peter's Prep, and my favorite hobby is just staying home, doing nothing.
That's definitely a relatable hobby. So let's just get into just our current hobbies and interests now. And so let's just go down the list of everyone again, and let's just mention some of the hobbies and maybe pick one or two and answer the following questions. Maybe talk about like if you have any sports, like what's your personal hobby right now? How many hours do you commit to your hobby? Like how long have you been doing your hobby? And just like a general introduction of what your hobby is and how you kind of um, do that hobby throughout your life. And so I'll just go first as an example. So my personal hobby, I also play tennis, and some of my interests are maybe like geopolitics and also like fashion design. And so yeah, those are just my general hobbies. I would say I commit, for instance, for tennis, I commit maybe like 3 to 4 hours every week. I used to do more when I was on the tennis team, but I'm not on the team this year. And so, yeah, I started tennis when I was around 8, but I started taking it like seriously when I was maybe the summer of freshman year for high school. And so, yeah, I personally really enjoy tennis. I think it's like a great activity to kind of be outside and to kind of get some movement in. And I think it's really fun personally. And I've made like a lot of friends and a lot of the social um, like atmosphere, especially like when you're on a team, the camaraderie is really nice. And so that's like one of my favorite aspects of tennis. And so, yeah, I definitely think that like I'm not on the tennis team this year, but I think I'll join back again next year. And so, yeah, tennis in general is just a really um, fun hobby of mine that I've been really enjoying inside and outside of school. So yeah, just kind of like that, just like a brief overview. Kaylin, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so like for me, I've played tennis since I was like 9, I think, and I didn't really play competitively. It's more of like my hobby. So now I usually just play like with my friends. I don't really take lessons anymore. And that's like maybe like 2 or 3 times a month. We usually play doubles. And then another hobby I have is volunteering. I volunteered for the first time, I think like in 6th or 7th grade. But then I only started volunteering consistently like a year ago at the Children's Museum in La Habra. And I usually commit like around 3 hours each time I go. And that's usually like 3 or 4 times a month.
Okay, that's really cool. Do you have like a specific reason why you volunteer at like the La Habra Children's Museum?
I feel like it's really cool for me because I used to go there when I was younger, and then now I'm kind of like on the other side managing, and I think that's really fun.
Yeah, that's definitely really cool. Would you say like that's like a fulfilling hobby in your life? Do you personally like find a lot of gratification in that?
Yeah, I feel like since I spend a lot of time like organizing events and kind of like managing them as they're happening, I feel like that's really cool. And then I can also meet like new people.
Yeah, that sounds really cool actually. and that's definitely a very rewarding hobby, it sounds like. Josephine, would you like to go next?
So I have lots of hobbies, for example, reading books or playing a sport, um, but I usually do only these two hobbies that I usually do, and I commit around 2 or 3 hours for doing this. Or if I'm doing an after school activity, it depends on the situation because I probably have a time limit. I start doing this hobby at my school for the sports part, and for my reading books, I usually do this at my home. So it actually is have different stories of those two, and yeah, those were my two hobbies.
Okay, that sounds really cool. Do you have like a specific genre of book or like specific book that you really enjoy?
I usually like reading fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy is definitely one of the more fun, um, I guess, books or genres out there. Personally, I do like a little bit of reading, but I'm like I don't read any fun books. Yeah. Julie, would you like to go next?
Um, my personal hobby is one is playing tennis and one is video editing. Um, I play tennis. I first played tennis when I was in freshman year, and I'm in the varsity team right now at school. And I think right now it's in the tennis season, so I commit like playing tennis like 2 hours every day, 2 to 3 hours, and then I start playing tennis for the team for my varsity team, and for the video editing, I'm in the club at my school. And for like one video, it take a long time to like make a one video to edit. So I think like for one video, I'll say like 15 hours to make it. I like watching videos, and that's what I start like video editing.
That's really cool. And wow, okay. 15 hours for one video. That's actually a lot more than I thought.
It's
Like
not
was
work.
yeah, it definitely sounds like it. Was it like a huge learning curve? Like did you have to learn a bunch of things in order for you to get into video editing?
I don't think so. Like when you watch like YouTube, there's a lot of tutorials and like, lessons.
Okay,
To like start it is really hard, but when you like get into the like programs or something, it'll be easier.
that sounds cool. Do you like personally use video editing a lot in your life? Like for like hobbies or maybe for like school projects or whatnot?
I usually right now I'm usually doing the school projects because I have a time limit. I don't have like a bunch of time to edit all different things. But if I had a time, I would of course edit a lot of videos too.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Shall we move on to Scarlett?
So my personal hobby that I think I spend the most time on is dancing, which is also the sport that I play. And I think spend about 12 hours a week dancing. I've been dancing since I was 5, and I dance competitively and for my school. Um, and then I don't know, when I was younger, I just kind of tried a few classes for fun, and then I really enjoyed it, so I kept on doing it. And then I started dancing competitively when I was maybe like 12. So yeah, it's really fun because like kind of what Joseph was saying too, that it's like the people on your team, you form that camaraderie, and it's a really good bond and experience. But it can get kind of toxic in the dance world, but I think if you have like good friends that could keep you grounded, then it's worth it to keep on going with it.
Yeah, that's definitely really cool. And so, like, it seems like you're pretty like committed to dancing. would you say that like you plan to keep dancing like into college and maybe into like your adult life?
I don't think I see myself dancing as like in a career, but I wouldn't like completely stop after high school. Maybe just I wouldn't keep doing it competitively though.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really cool. Um, and last but not least, Jay.
I guess some of my hobbies are like just looking at like statistics about players, playing badminton and like playing basketball. Um, I started I found the hobby of like looking at players kind of fun. Like look at the stats of the players and comparing. It's kind of like fantasy football, like being the GM and being like controlling all the trades. It kind of interested me, and now it became a hobby that I can't stop doing it. For badminton, I started when I was very little with my mom in a way because I had nothing to do, and then I just got better at it. And then at one point, I was just kind of dominant toward other friends. So like, I kind of enjoyed humiliating my friends with my skills. So I guess it became a hobby. And for basketball, that sport also I started when I was like little. I started out as like a youth professional basketball team in a way. In Korea, there's like 10 basketball teams, and under each professional team, there's this like youth basketball program. I started there, and then I ended up getting picked as one of the youth basketball selectees for a team to try out. I didn't make it, but like I kind of enjoyed that experience, and I continued on in America. Um, I stopped playing badminton because I just couldn't find the time for myself to play and the opponents to play against. For basketball, it's been like 8 months since I touched the ball because I was a little bit busy because I row, I do crew, and it occupies my time. And after school, when it ends at 3, we have practice from 4 to 6, and I get home at 7. So like I just don't have the time to do anything else, which is why I said earlier that my favorite hobby is just to stay at home and do nothing.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're like a very athletic guy, and yeah, that's really crazy. It seems like you were really good at a bunch of different sports. What would you say was like your favorite sport to play?
My favorite sport to play was badminton, of course, but it just felt cool when you hit the ball, like when you hit the ball with the racket like correctly, it makes a sound, and I particularly love that sound compared to like the swish and like the smacking for baseball. Like I just like the sound of like hitting the racket with the ball, and that's why I prefer badminton over all the other sports.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Like even in tennis, when the ball hits your racket really well and like the sweet spot, it makes a certain sound and it's really satisfying. Okay, so now that we just basically went over like a quick introduction of our hobbies and just a quick overview, let's just go more into some of our takeaways and let's go a little deeper into um, maybe some of the lessons we learned, maybe some of the skills we learned, and just maybe talk about like what's the most difficult aspect of your hobby, what have you learned from your hobby, how has it like helped you in life, etc. And so again, let's just go down the list and let's just kind of discuss some of our major takeaways from our hobbies. Um, I guess I'll go first. Again, I guess I'll just talk about tennis. I guess the most difficult aspect of my hobby is it was definitely the time. I put in a lot of time, like even in school and even outside of school. At a certain point, like in the summers, I believe I was hitting maybe like 2 times a day, and every practice session was maybe like 2 to 3 hours. And so every day I would be hitting maybe anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours if I was hitting a lot. And so, yeah, it was like definitely the time that was really tough. And I definitely wasn't like the best tennis player, even in my school. And so it kind of taught me that like I can't be the best at everything. Even when I try my hardest and even if I give it my all, sometimes just things come more naturally to other people, and that's fine. But if I enjoy it, I should still pursue it, and I should still um, like put a decent amount of effort into things, even if it doesn't necessarily produce like the best results. Maybe if I'm not like beating out other players, that's fine. As long as I enjoy it, I should. There's some like value to it personally, and that's like one lesson I learned. Kaylin, would you like to go?
Yeah. So like for me, I never really played tennis competitively, but then still like when I was practicing, some weeks I was better and some weeks I wasn't. So I think like the most frustrating part was when I wasn't consistent. But I also learned about patience and the importance of going outside and having a hobby that you really like and want to improve yourself on. And yeah, I feel like it was really important for me to play tennis because I never really did two sports at the same time. I I did them like all at different times, but then tennis I think I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Like tennis is like a really frustrating sport too, you know? I definitely like it's not like the easiest sport. It's very technical and there's so many things that you could do wrong. And so like I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
How did you like kind of like manage your expectations? How did you kind of like manage and gain like the patience to have be motivated and play throughout your inconsistencies?
I think like when I really couldn't hit well for like a few weeks, I would just be like really frustrated and want to quit. But then like sometimes I just took a break and then came back to it. And even like a few days, I just felt better and I felt like maybe if I practice more, it'll help me.
Yeah, that's definitely like a good point. Like sometimes you just need to take a break even from like your hobbies, even from things that you love, especially when it's not working out. That's very good point. Josephine, do you just want to talk about your takeaways?
Okay. So, I do like reading books, but like one of the difficult aspects would be trying to read lots of different genres of books because I usually only like reading fantasy, but sometimes my parents say to read history type of genre books, and sometimes that doesn't work out because I don't really like history. But one of the valuable skill or lesson that I have learned would be probably knowledge, since when you read lots of books, you gain lots of information. And I think that's the main reason why it actually helped me in my life. But I don't really consider reading books as a career, so I don't think that will actually relate to my future job.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. And so like, and you said you were trying to like branch out into other genres like history. And so would you say like branching out, like even just trying to branch out, that was like a beneficial thing for you?
Possibly, since I still have read a book and I still gained lots of knowledge, so I don't think it would be like a disadvantage to myself.
Yeah, definitely. I think branching out, like even like within your own hobby is definitely something productive. Julie?
Um, as I'm in the tennis team right now and I'm playing this season, I think the most difficult aspect is like a physical difficulties because I broke my ankle a lot of times. I hurt my back a lot of times. And it also right now I have really like have a back pain, very bad back pain and like time I have no time to like study at all for like in my season because when we have a game it take like 6 to 8 hours like 4 to 6 hours to like have a game. So I think that's the most difficulties, but I love like playing tennis. Also editing time is the most hardest part, but um tennis was my like first sport that I start, and I loved it. It has a lot of times like made me frustrating because of like consistency that Kaylin said. But I think like from tennis, I like learn like to have like more efficient schedule, you know, like without wasting time. If I'm not like playing tennis, if I'm not doing any sports, I was just like laying down in my bed, nothing, just doing nothing. So I think also like being a tennis team made me like bound in a team like with my friend, like time with my friends. So I think it is really valuable to have a sport in your high school year.
Yeah, that's definitely yeah, I can completely relate to like a lot of the things you said, like the injuries, it's really tough, you know? Like even me too. Like when you talked about your back, my back hurts right now too. I can't serve properly. And yeah, I definitely understand all like especially the time too. Like I didn't take tennis this year because
Mhm.
the time was just like it's my junior year. I have a lot of classes and it's just it didn't really work out for me. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of things that you said. But do you think that you'll pursue tennis maybe past um past high school? Like maybe are you going to play competitively or even just as a hobby into college and into your adult life?
I don't know if I'm gonna play tennis in my college year, but like right now, as a high schooler, I wanted to like play more competitive with other school. I like it can be my hobby in my college year too.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think that I'm going to like play in college as well. Not like in NCAA, but just like as a hobby. Scarlett, would you like to go?
I think that the most difficult aspect of my hobby, which is dancing, is like I mentioned earlier, the comparative aspect. Because it's really easy to look at other people who are like you think are such great dancers and like ask yourself and beat yourself up, like why you're not as good as them. I think I personally struggle with that. That along with like the physical elements of it, because dance, it's not just a sport, it's an art too. So you have to worry about not just like keeping or like performing your or like yeah you have to worry about your performance as well, so you're kind of like struggling to balance both aspects of dance. But I think it's really powerful because dance, it really helps with like lots of um, areas of your like mind and body, because like it maintains your flexibility, strength, it like keeps you like it motivates you to persevere and try your best. um, but I don't think I like I said, I don't think I'm gonna pursue it, but I just really I think it's my passion, so I don't think I want to ever stop doing it, but I don't see myself doing it as a career.
Yeah, I think like one really interesting thing that you said was like just like the performative nature of dancing as like an art form forces you to kind of like smile through the pain. And so like and so do you personally find that to be really tough? And do you think that like that kind of makes it more rewarding whenever you have like a good performance?
Yeah, I think when you're performing, you just kind of go on autopilot and like you're just smiling. But in the end, when you see like the audience cheering and like love the dance, it's really all worth it of all the hard work that you put in.
Yeah. And also just like one more thing, you said that it's like very like you kind of get lost um like comparing yourself to other people. And so like um personally, like how did you deal with that? Was that like a huge issue for you?
It used to be, but now I've kind of just accepted that like they're on like their own path and I'm like on mine. So I'm kind of just comparing myself to how I was previously. And I think that really helped because like if I look at myself like even a few months ago, like wow, I've improved so much. And that's what keeps me motivated and like proud of myself.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm actually really happy for you that like you are not having those problems anymore. Yeah, that sounds really rewarding. Jay, do you just want to talk about some of your takeaways with your hobby?
In my opinion, I don't think my hobbies are particularly helping me in any way because basketball and badminton, although it was very fun going against my fellow peers, they haven't helped me develop any skills that will help me in the future. And for statistics, as much as I love learning, like looking at stats and everything, it's super hard to major in like becoming a general manager for a team or like becoming an analyst for a team, because that's what a lot of people who watch sports wants it to be. So like unless you're particularly good at it, like at top level, you won't get into it. So like I feel like my hobbies in a way, although it was fun, it was kind of a waste of time in a way because I haven't. Right now, I'm doing crew, and like I have no time to do any of my hobbies. Because like even the weekends, we had a 12 to 4 practice. So like I just got home and I'm in this meeting. So like I don't particularly see any point of doing my hobby anymore.
I see. I mean, you were really good at um, like a bunch of sports. Do you think that like in order for you to get to that point of like proficiency in any skill, do you think like that has kind of taught you like perseverance maybe, or do you think that has taught you like patience or any like virtue that you could cross apply or not really?
I mean, if I have to choose one version in a way, I would choose dedication because like I came from a foreign country, which is South Korea, and then I moved here in around 5th to 6th grade. So like I struggled in English, but then I I was dedicated of becoming better. And now in my high school, I'm in the honors class, and everybody like looks up to me, checking, wants me to check their aces and everything. So like I guess playing badminton for a while is in order to get to that level, it took me a whole year and a half, constantly playing, and it I was dedicated to the sport to becoming better, and I was one of the best at my school. So like, and for basketball, I wasn't having like that much success like badminton I did, but like still, it required a lot of dedication from you because in Korea there's not a lot of basketball courts, so like you had to go to like stadiums and other places to play basketball. It's just like the same for any other sports like baseball. Baseball, I didn't put a lot of dedication in, and even though I had kind of some skills on it, I wasn't able to perform the same level that I had with other sports. It's like the same for anything that you do in life. You need to put the dedication in order to do what you want.
Yeah, I that definitely sounds like um yeah, I definitely agree with you. You know, hobbies really make you work for it, you know, hobbies really make you stay dedicated and disciplined. So yeah, I definitely think that's a really good point. With that being said, today we just went over our hobbies in general. We just kind of explained how long we've been doing our hobbies, what we enjoy about it, etc. And we also just explained some of the takeaways, some of the difficulties we've experienced in our hobbies and whatnot. And so, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this meeting. Please come back next month to also listen to another podcast. And with that being said, we'll see you next month. Thank you.